one story that I think would be, it would be a great use of exposition in like creating a journal, but also it would be terrible in the sense that nobody would ever consume it. Is the archetypal or stereotypical millennial with ADHD giving a narrative and trying to stay on topic.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude.
just like, oh God, this went off the rails. But yeah, like it'd be so accurate and so good, but also like
hard to read.
like,
Dude,
just make it stop.
Oscar, that's the first draft of Valkas of the Greater Wilds because he edited it heavily.
I just read him like, oh no,
This has gotta go.
Good stuff. I was like, nope, gotta move this around. Nope.
Thankfully, he's good at puzzles.
Yeah, I am very good at puzzles. So. Recording.
Yeah.
It's fine. Everything's todo está bien, as they say.
Everything's fine here now.
Thanks.
Hello, everybody.
How are you?
Oh boy.
That's one of my things I'm going to talk about today is Star Wars. So good job.
Oh, really?
We never talk about Star Wars
Star
on
Wars,
this
no.
podcast.
Oh, never.
It's never come up once.
They were making the Star Wars podcast game that came back out like in the late 90s or early 2000s. I can't remember. I'm super excited about it. I don't know why.
You know what? The last time I was at a Bath and Body Works, there was a big frickin' I shop with other people.
No,
Sure,
it's fine.
okay.
It's just the Bath and Body Works and Star Wars somehow is going to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
connected.
that's-
It is.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm waiting for. Like, I'm just
There's a massive like Star Wars display and like some like themed thing for all these sets. And I'm like, this is why I don't care about Star Wars anymore.
Yeah.
Is it's literally everywhere.
they just marked it. I saw it
yeah.
on Chiquita Bananas one time for something. It was just a sticker or whatever.
Right.
I'm just like, porgs love Chiquita Banana. I have no idea what it said, but
Name this at Greedo.
did they have like wet Chewbacca smell? Like, do you like? Right.
I took photos and then I ignored the crap out of it after
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
For you.
And I meant to post about how much I hate this. And then I didn't. I will do
But
that.
now he's talking
Yeah.
about it.
See,
Yeah,
you know,
this is
You're
why you
welcome,
should join our
everybody.
Discord is
Yes.
because this is the
Post
kind of
that picture.
content you might
Yeah.
see.
Do you think you still have it?
Oh, I totally still have it.
Excellent.
Yeah, I don't know if they still have it.
I hope
Yeah,
not. Right.
probably not.
But yeah, welcome to Bards and Balladeers, guys. We are Bards and Balladeers, the podcast, TM, and we are about a podcast about story in all its forms. I am Rio.
I'm Kate.
Oscar.
We go right to left, and why we keep changing it?
I didn't know what the logic
That's
was.
what we did
so-
last time.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I understand.
I'm Rio.
A whole
That's
year
Oscar.
in, and we're still. Hi, I'm Kate, and we're still working on our intro. Thanks for
Right.
coming along the journey with us, guys.
But speaking of show don't tell, that's what we're talking about today. Because as much as I love that story, I bet you that image he's going to show us later is going to be even better. So
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to that. So today we're talking about tell versus show or show versus tell. I actually never seen tell versus show, so that's why that threw me off. But so there is an idea that works in story when we decide to put something into it. How far do we go into telling why and where and what something is, rather than trying to explore that through either the characters or the plot or whatever, and to be like, oh, it's like kind of like lore dumping or like info dumping.
Exposition.
Exposition.
Mhm.
Thank you. And we're
Yeah.
trying to figure out when it's good to use that and when it's actually not so good and when you can overdo it. And I feel like you can overdo it very easily. So today we're going to kind of figure out when and where we stop with that.
Yeah, and also kind of where that boundary is, because if you're writing,
Yeah.
it's all tell.
Right.
Yeah.
Technically, but
But there's a form of telling that counts as showing, and there's a form that's just telling.
right.
Mhm.
And we're going to get into we're not going to spend ages like on that point, but yeah,
Right.
this is stuff we all have to contend with as authors.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it works again, like you say, kind of reverse on both sides. Like if you do books, you having your characters to say things rather than showing that or describing an action
Yeah.
is sometimes bad. Where in visuals, like in movies, like if you just say all the stuff of like you have a character just kind of talk about, or you have a scrawl or whatever, then it's worse than just showing that action or whatever that's happening, or building up your characters through the things they do through your stories. So
And sometimes it's actually worse the other way around, depending on the story. Yeah.
Mm.
depending
Needs of the story
needs
outweigh
Yeah.
the needs of the few or the one.
And with that too, I do think that it ties into becoming a pacing issue also,
yeah.
or a what is the opposite of an issue? Like a benefit. Like if
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
trying to have a like more I don't want to say slow paced story, but like a more explorative story, a more like trying to ground your reader in the world that you're in.
And it's a pacing tool. You can use
yes.
or misuse it.
Yes. Yeah. And it definitely is like an art form, you know, over the years, like your first book in comparison to your last book, will treat it probably very differently just because of things that you learn as an author or a filmmaker or I don't know if you can have exposition in non like verbal music, like instrumental music. I don't know if that's a thing. I didn't think about that.
Actually, if you're telling a story through music, it has to be all exposition, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because like I went
some
down
of it's composition.
Boom.
But like he's like I went down to the dark, and you know, like they'll tell you what the story is.
Right.
Like what's the word with Emily
Shoshone Rose?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Devil Went Down to Georgia, like all these.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just in words are all about telling.
Boom.
But you can't show through. I mean, unless you literally like took your like instruments and somehow played the action. Yeah, you know, like there's thematic music, right?
Like Peter and the Wolf.
Incidental music is where it's almost like show, where it's like, this music sounds like this real phenomenon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting take. I wasn't expecting to go there.
We weren't planning to go into this little pocket of reality, but it's worth it, I think.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But
we should do one on incidental music.
Okay.
Right, that's
Twist
all
my
it is
arm.
on her.
No, not this time. Not this episode.
We got time for that.
Yeah. Ain't nobody got time
You
for
can
that.
tell them on the Discord about it later.
Okay.
Yeah. But you know, people always say show, don't tell, and it's like, well, first of all, like, you know, like I said, words are telling, but also Tom Clancy had a career. Robert Jordan had a career. Brandon Sanderson has a career. Lots of people use James Missioner, who these guys don't know, but I barely know.
How dare you?
Yeah.
I don't know him either.
I remember saying that on a previous episode. He had a career. All these guys, they all use exposition.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they have a career if you're never supposed to use exposition?
Well, I'm never an absolutist with that. Like, never.
None of us are.
No,
we all know better.
But you can. I think with fantasy, it delves a little bit differently because like it's almost like you're reading a story and everything, but it's like when you expose in a book and everything, it's almost like you had a tome. Like if somebody like, here's the lore of like, you know, the ancient times, here's the book of this god or whatever. Like when you take that time, people want to know that stuff. People want to like just kind of delve deeper into that lore and magic and everything. It's like, this is why this magic works and everything. It's like Sword Art Online. I don't know. It's an anime, but it was a light novel before that. And inside it had like the stats and everything for the characters. Like, you know, he built like he was level 1 at the beginning, but when he was this level, like this is the stats and these are his techniques and everything. And it did nothing more than just like fill out the world. So it is actually kind of like a world building tool at times too. You know? So using it again, it's finding the times to use it. Like, you know,
right. And I also do think that like, cause what you're saying, it depends on the type of like exposition too. Because like for fantasy or like a Tolkien-esque novel, like you're going to that like for the world building, for the escapism, the discoveryism, whatever. But like one of those like more nonfiction or historical fiction type stories.
Yeah, real world based.
Yeah. I do find it odd that some of those authors that you mentioned, like they've found success in doing that thing when it's an already established world. And so how does it work? And that is the fascinating thing to me. One
quick answer to that. It may be an established world, but we haven't traveled everywhere.
I was going to say that, like, you know, no one knows all the intricacies or in and outs of the military scene. So explaining a lot of that stuff are just like international, you know, tensions or whatever. We don't know all that. We know that there's in World War II, we know there was a Iraqi war back in the 90s, like, but we don't know what actually happened in some of those.
Right. And just because you read it in a history book, that doesn't mean you know all the perspectives or even necessarily accurate ones where stuff's not being just made up from whole cloth.
Yeah.
Sure.
But in terms of world building, because you mentioned world building too, is like, I find that we as people relate more to certain things in reality as observers.
Sure.
And other things are more like through felt experience or visual, whatever. But and when we're encountering like aspects of world building, or when we're encountering settings and the world in real life, we think about like in nature, we're more used to encountering that or dealing with that as observers. And so we're going, if you want to make fiction relatable in terms of world building, there's got to be some stuff in there that's in that sort of flavor as observers. And so that is often done well through exposition. Like we talked about it with travel, like if you're creating like a sense of distance and time, like leaving in more of these things, having it be almost like a montage where there's some description and there's some intermittent, like conversational scenes or some little interactions and then more narration and then some interactions, which is exactly how a montage works. You know, you show these little bits of action like a film, like think Team America, like the montage song and the montage scene that goes to. And the song explains how a montage works. And it's actually accurate and funny at the same time. But that's how it works. You show these little clips of improvement or progress or whatever the montage is in travel. It's like progress in travel. And you have these little scenes that help you relate to it and show people, you know, walking through it, observing it, ignoring it, being frustrated by it, having to deal with it, whatever. So those are some of the realities of like the world building, how we intersect with that as observers.
And one of the real,
No, you're okay.
like a real world example of this, if you ever want to know there's between show and tell, is that if you tell someone how much you care about them or what that you care about them, it is effective only either if you've shown that before because of things you do for them, and that things that you say that you care about them will only work for so long and as long as you can still show that you do care. Like, you know, you can't just say the words and expect someone to believe you. You had to have some backing towards
the execution of those feelings.
Correct. You know,
and even though words of affirmation is a love language, if it's not backed by action, it's almost like a wounding tool. It's like you don't mean that because you're not taking the actions.
Exactly.
So that it is exposition in that sense. It is just words, but if it's backed up by other things, then it lands more powerfully.
Which I think that in and of itself is like the different types of exposition. Like you can have different types. There's like a shallow exposition, and which is not like if something is just completely out of left field, has no purpose for the plot that like an author is explaining, that can sometimes maybe feel shallow. But if there is an overarching like purpose for that thing that is being explained, like maybe we'll see different versions of it later on in the story, but acted out by characters in some way, shape, or form. I don't have an example. I wish I did.
I deal with a lot with this, and especially my first book with all the stuff that's new to readers.
Sure.
And you've got to sort of find a way to explain it without it being just pure exposition.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've got to do it through different characters' eyes and perspectives and have it be relevant to the story.
Right. Right.
You can't just go in there. It's like, oh, that's a cool ship with this like bow and this or like bow and it's whatever. It's like, no one's just start talking about the ship out of nowhere. Like, you know,
exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So I put a lot of that through Koya's perspective because she doesn't know these details. And neither does the reader. Yeah. So you learn it at the same speed, and you only learn the bits that I consider relevant and that I want to deal with, which are the bits that she wants to deal with and that she considers relevant.
So I have a theory real quick because of Koya, that she's a cool character. And do you think that people like her not just because of her actions, what she does, but because you can like associate yourself more with that character than anybody else just because you're both discovering the world together?
I absolutely think that that's the case. And I didn't do that deliberately, but as soon as I was done with the story, I'm like, this is totally natural. That's what happened.
Which is good because if you can read it and you'd be like, that just feels right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I've had numerous, you're not the only one. I've had numerous people tell me, if you kill her, I'm done.
We'll never be friends again.
Book one solidified her as the reader, like that's the reader in the story.
Yes.
But it's like the reader with cool abilities.
Yes.
It's like you've killed me by killing her. I'm not saying I won't. Do it. I'm not saying I will. I'm just saying that I know the consequences if I do.
But sure, you'll disappear and we'll know why. But
it will be painful.
If you do for some reason kill her,
right,
it has to be earned. Like, you know, like you can't just do it. And the reason why like I'm talking about this now is because I always talk about the kiss that's not earned. Like if you do things and you don't like show that characters are connected and they have grown to this point where they would get to that kiss, it feels gross to me. And again,
Rick Hunter, Lisa Hayes.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah,
you have to kiss me right now. Like
right in front of Centrale. So like, oh my god, a kiss.
Yeah. Well, we won't go into how any of that ends up.
But there was a particular a movie we watched recently though where you kept wanting them to kiss, and I was like, no, not yet. But then they did kiss at the end, and it was worth it because of I don't remember what it was.
I mean, I was talking about Last Jedi. Yeah, the second video game of the new Jedi Survivor games where they finally do kiss. Spoiler, sorry guys. And but it's in the best moment because it's right after they thought they were gonna die. Like it was like, so they's like, no, I'm not gonna wait anymore for this kiss. Let's do this. Like, and it was great. But again, they established a slow building of their relationship so that when it did happen, it was so much more rewarding. And I just like feel if you don't use that show and you just says like, I love you, and it's like, or this is how I feel about you, but like nothing has been established other than those words. It's hollow. It's meaningless.
Right. You add depth the longer things take. And again, like, I guess we're, I don't know about exposition, but like, like building up tension, building up suspense is something you can do with that sort of dynamic or with exposition. And some people have different levels of tolerance for suspense and tension. And they're like, it's basically, how long can you wait for this payoff? Right. I mean, for me, it's like you better be able to wait. So my books are long.
Yes. But you have other things in that interim that either I would say prevents those things from happening or those relationships from happening.
There's other payoffs in between. Yeah. Like, because I don't just have one payoff everyone's waiting for and I stretch it out 3 books. That would be, no one would read book 2 if that were the case.
Yeah, sure.
But I think there's, a point of that too is like those little moments also then show you why those characters can do the thing at the very end, like to fulfill that suspense. That's tangent from exposition.
Yeah, that's not always its own episode. Yeah, that's not always through exposition. And one thing I would say, like, this is a bad example, I think, of exposition where, so I'm rewatching season 5 of Babylon 5.
Sure.
And there's this one character that's kind of a replacement character. And I'm also rewatching this guy reacting to it at the same time. And he's like, stop trying to tell me to like this character and give me a reason. Stop telling me to and start showing me why I should. And to be fair, he's right. Like that character is not written well the first several episodes in terms of making you be glad there's a replacement there, And it's like, it could have been done. It should have been done. It's, you have a responsibility to the viewer. But again, season 5, you had other reasons why things didn't take off right away because they thought they were canceled at the end of season 4 and had to hurry up with a season 5 once they're like, this new other network was like, we'll take you. And they're like, oh no, they got caught a little flat footed. Yeah. But that's an example of like, other characters saying, oh, I really like our new cabinet. Oh, I really like this person. Stop trying to pull that sleight of hand by having other characters say how much they like this character. You haven't shown the viewer enough reasons to like the character.
When you talk about that, it makes me, I don't know why I keep talking about new Star Trek stuff and everything. It's one of those things where it's Star Trek with like perfect casting, but it's just like we're supposed to somehow transpose all our good feelings we had about old Trek into this new Trek and be like, just because it's the same or has a name on it that they somehow earned that, like, and they can't.
It's branding. It's like, where are Nikes made now? It's like, it's not the same shoe anymore. It's not the same Star Trek anymore. Yeah. It's just been branded.
Yeah. Which, there's a lot more to talk about that.
You gotta earn that brand.
You gotta earn that brand.
Which Lower Decks did.
Lower Decks did, yes.
Which, by the way, merchandising without earning it is a form of exposition.
Sure.
You're telling me to like this without showing me why I should.
Yeah.
Right. Like, oh, it's a new iPhone. I got to get it. It's obviously better because the number's gone up. Like,
but that's to your point. That's, I think, why you brought that up is like, it is a form of exposition.
Sure.
Yeah.
That building up that it's a loyalty almost, like it's trust.
It's brand loyalty.
Yeah.
So if you can manipulate the brand, you can manipulate the loyalty.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's gross.
That happens in all walks of life, business, politics, like everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you can have something represent another thing, and then you can manipulate the thing that's representing it. It's like currency represents something. It represents production. If you can manipulate currency, you can manipulate the perception of production, et cetera. It's all forms of like exposition. You're telling me one thing, you got to back it up.
Wow.
And so that those are all bad examples of misuses of exposition.
And so after the break, we'll hopefully have something hopeful for you.
Hey, thanks for watching and listening to us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. To check out our work and our schedules, click on the links in the description below and read the latest updates there or on our website at bardsandballadeerspodcast.com. We hope you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and definitely reach out to us on our Discord. And now back to the show.
So now we're just going to talk about sunshine and butterflies.
Show us that. Don't tell us that.
How is a butterfly flying? Why does the butterfly fly?
Why is Gamora? So one of the things that I've seen exposition done that I think can be kind of effective is when it is a very short, like text on the beginning of a movie. Top Gun is actually one of the examples I can think of recently that did this, where they like the world's best pilots come together to train and to find out who's the next. This is Top Gun, and that's all you need. And you see planes and everybody's happy. Like,
that's
let's get
really
going.
Good point.
Or, honestly, anytime there's a scene change and they say where and when it is.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Just a little one-line thing.
Yeah.
Egypt, 1914 or whatever is the beginning of Fifth Element.
Oh, sure.
Cairo or what?
1912.
Yeah. And then it's like 500 years later or whatever.
300 years later. Yeah.
And it's just like, then you see, and that's actually good exposition because like those time jumps. And then, he just said, oh, this happens every 5,000 years. It's like, oh, so I got time. And then jumps to whenever and like, oh, wait, now it's happening,
One of my favorite, I think, most clever uses of exposition in the written word in books is when they have a little blurb at the beginning of each chapter. And sometimes it tells you something useful and sometimes it doesn't, which means sometimes it's exposition and sometimes it's just an artifact. But by coding all of it as an artifact, you get away with injecting some exposition and having it viewed as showing.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I'm getting a clip of Irulan's journal or whatever in Dune, or I'm getting this like little memoir from Dr. Lang in the Robotech series or whatever. The Robotech books have that. Dune has that. The books that have that, I'm like, this is cool. Yeah.
Has them too. Yeah.
It's just like a little snippet, a little taste of something. I don't know.
Yeah. I intend to do that in some later works.
Copy me.
Yeah, you did it first.
Nothing's original.
But Top Gun, Star Wars, Last Unicorn does that in written words where it's just like in a forest somewhere long ago, the last unicorn roamed or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And he put, actually, Peter S. Beagle talked about this, is that he mistyped he to she and then just left it. And it's like that became the exposition for the book.
I love that.
Yeah.
In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit.
Oh. Yeah. And that's not to tie in these, like how crucial, like the first statement of your book or, thing can be, but really like these timeless tales, are they timeless or have they like stuck with people for so long because they're summarized so well and the exposition is so like targeted at the get-go that it just hooks you very well? Or are they just timeless because they're just good stories with good characters and good plots?
I think a lot of it is about the hook though too.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we've also been talking kind of exclusively about third person narrative, but also you see it in first person narrative. Like I was 14 when I ran away, those opening statements in first person narratives, they do happen and they can be a hook.
Sure.
And I think we've even talked about some before, but I don't remember them. But
they were good when we said it though.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're going to tell you, we're not going to show you.
No. Which is funny that you mentioned different perspectives because the journal that I have written for in the world of Never Told, like that is truly itself all exposition too.
For sure. Yeah.
And now thinking about that, I'm like, well, it works in some ways and it might not. It wasn't my preferred way of delivering the story as I was writing it. I do know that. Right. But it needed to be a journal because that's just the type of character that was going through that plot. And so there was a little bit of I don't want to say like moral dilemma for myself as I was writing it, but sometimes you want to, when you have to decide on like what perspective you use like pretty early on, because transitioning that or translating that into a different perspective is like so much more work, I would say. Yeah. It's doable, but it's more work.
It's like all of the Mark Watney scenes in The Martian.
Sure.
It's similar kind of, it's a video journal. It's a video log.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a similar thing. And then they flip back to everyone else. And that's a whole different perspective. It's a different way of telling the story.
Yeah. They do that in Avatar too, actually.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Sully's talking to the camera. He's like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Like, it's just like, oh, I got to record this. So like we're driving these avatars and he's just kind of but like, it's just a way to, again, fast track some of this stuff where it's just like, yeah, they could have showed him laying down and doing all things, which they show multiple times in the film. But it's just like, it builds where he's at because he's not a researcher. He's not going to do this stuff. This is stupid. Why am I expositing?
The researchers can analyze what I'm saying here. But that's the thing. When there's an in-character, in-story reason for a character to be giving an account verbally or having a log or something, that is showing. It's a sneaky way of, now if it's too transparent and you're like, this actually doesn't make that, it doesn't make enough sense for you to rely on this, or this is contrived, then it just feels like telling again. But otherwise, it's a pretty good device to just allow you to give some exposition.
That is true.
As long as the exposition is in character.
It's tricky. It can be very tricky, but again, you can use it well. Like no one's ever telling you not to do it. I mean, we want to do it because sometimes you don't need, again, get the story moving. You don't want to waste all that. I even make a joke about it in my comic that I'm doing, where it's like, one of my characters steals clothing and gives to the other person. It's like, he's like, where'd you get these? And it's like, doesn't matter. Just put them on. We got to get this story moving. Like, like this, don't worry about it.
One story that I think would be, it would be a great use of exposition in like creating a journal, but also it would be terrible in the sense that nobody would ever consume it. Is the archetypal or stereotypical millennial with ADHD giving a narrative, trying to stay on topic,
dude.
Just like, oh god, this went off the rails, but like it'd be so accurate and so good, but also like
hard to read.
Dude,
just make it stop.
Oscar, that's the first draft of Valkas of the Greater Wilds because he edited it heavily.
I just read him like, oh no,
this has got to go.
Good stuff. I was like, nope, gotta move this around. No.
Thankfully, he's good at puzzles.
Yeah, I am very good at puzzles. So.
But yeah, it would be relatable. It would surely be relatable, but no
it'd be
plot.
Relatable in that way of like, if you're like first thing that we pop out of bed and you've got bed hair and you're like, I look terrible. And you look in the mirror, it's like, that's relatable and I don't want to look at it.
Yeah.
It hits too close to home, man.
Yep.
I need to clean this up a little.
But I do think that, as we're talking, and maybe I've mentioned this a little bit already too, but just that different types of like expositions are more forgivable, I think, from each like viewer, reader, whoever, depending on like what you like in a story. Like, for example, like I know I've talked about The Raid before, but like I'm willing to forgive plot and world building because I love that character. Yeah. And I think it's same for like, plot. Like, for example, like the only one I could really think of was like Ocean's 11, where you don't really need the world developed all that much. Like there's casinos and then there's, people that want to rob casinos.
Right.
There might be more to that, but
to that fact real quick, there's like, they do a good job with showing or telling and not showing because they actually do with montages, like you said, where they're like, this is the casino and this is our plan and this is what we're going to do. And like, this is why this guy's a bad guy and everything. It's like, that's all we need. Like,
right.
But there's also enough of the plan that is like, that you don't hear, you see how it plays out. But also they do exposition for why does the casino have extra money right then?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, just to simplify that.
Right. Which I think that like, so if you're a plot person, like you might like that a little bit more. You're okay to like, forgive certain things. That was the only example I could think of for that one. But then for like world building too, like I don't think that, so people that like world building the most, I think they're less likely to forgive like character and plot deficiencies though. I think that people that like world building just like world building and like reading or like consuming things for escapism or discoveryism.
Right.
There's
it's like anything contrived in the character or plot spaces. They're like, that's transparent. But in the world building, it's like, oh, cool, world building.
Exactly.
I do think though that in general, whichever of those categories you like, you still want all of them to be done well. Sure, so that you might forgive more in a certain category, but you'd still rather it was not bad. Mm-hmm. And I know that for myself, I'm a plot person. And I know that one thing I think plot people, one trap we fall into sometimes is I like exposition and I like plot. And those intersect badly in some places. I think in my first book, my initial work, where and again, this gaming roots, I'm showing everyone kind of planning what they're going to do.
Sure.
And it can help to do that to some degree. But then if you do it too much, there's no surprise when you see the plan put into action, except for the things that come up that they weren't planning on.
Right.
And, you know, like I feel still pretty confident in that whole book. Like I did great, but I did kind of edit more of that out of my second book and it's just better.
Yeah.
There's more surprise. You still get the feeling, oh yeah, they go plan and then you cut scene. You don't hear the plan and you see it in motion. You're like at each stage, you're like, oh,
right.
And I think that's just more effective than just doing all the exposition on the front end.
Sure.
I can see that.
I do agree. Like I do like a good planning scene, like in a movie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The war room.
Yes. And I love seeing where it all goes wrong. So sometimes to your effect, yes, like, okay, that's what we're going to do. Plan happens and you watch and you discover with them. But sometimes it's fun where like, okay, I got to be here when this happens. And then watching people kind of pivot and like move in that scene when it's going on is also a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I know you're more like the in terms of character archetypes, and you're like, I'm going to run off and do my, you're the Leroy Jenkins of the party.
Right.
And so this the whole
help,
setup,
I swear.
If you're not familiar with Leroy Jenkins, there's this whole, like, this was made up.
The mythos
really happen. But yeah, like,
wait, the Leroy Jenkins thing?
Yeah.
It totally happened. What are you talking about?
No. The guy, I saw the guy who worked at Blizzard. He was like the voice of Leroy Jenkins. Like, I was playing StarCraft while we were recording that. Like he was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like this was staged. It was staged. It was completely staged. Sorry to burst your bubble there.
I don't like this exposition.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole thing, it was like a World of Warcraft thing that someone was recording, and this whole group coming up with this really detailed plan and sharing the statistics of likelihood it would work. And then like the one guy is just like, all right, let's do this. It's like he'd been away from his keyboard during that whole planning. All right, and he just rushes in, Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah.
And everyone rushes after him, and then I'll get killed.
Always going. It's like, do you just go in there? Like,
yeah. So that's exposition. The planning is exposition there, but it's the whole setup for the comedy.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing with any kind of war thing. Like, the plan, as soon as the combat starts, the plan goes out the window.
Right.
Yeah.
All the unexpected.
Unless everything works out, until things stop working out the way you planned, like it's great. But once that happens, it's like, no, sorry, now there's a lot of improv.
Yeah, I'm mad at you so much right now. You could have just let me believe that
Dream
was
crusher.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're here to face our issues. No, it's okay. Face reality, man.
Face reality. I mean, it's still like that. It lives on though, like, right? Because of the idea, like, I guess that's the thing too, is that because of, yes, the comedy, but we believe, and if you played MMOs or video games with other people, that impatient person, that thing where it's going to happen where it's just like, I can see that happen in reality. Yes, it's funny because we know people like that. Because
I even said that archetype in the role playing, like the archetypes episode we did about role playing. There's always the one guy who runs off and gets into trouble, and then everyone else has to chase after them. And
Leroy Jenkins, he's my hero.
Icon. But Oscar, earlier you mentioned about how you edited down the exposition for plot, like planning, in your second book versus your first book.
Yeah.
And so I feel like one of the questions that we have is like, what's too much? When is exactly like the right amount to do? so you said that you personally decided that it wasn't like an editor saying like, hey, reel this in. It was an active choice from you.
It was both. It's like arriving at the same conclusion at the same time kind of thing. Not an editor, but just beta readers and me just like, yeah, this feels like overkill. Like I feel like I'm writing the same thing 3 times over. It's like you plan it, you do it, and then you talk about what happened. And it's like, yeah, you're just kind of rehashing it at that point. And I guess what made it too much is, again, like, am I just repeating myself?
Sure.
And do people need to know what the plan is before they see it unfold? Are there parts of it that will be confusing if they don't see the planning?
Sure.
Now, what function does the planning serve? Does it show vital character things? Like, can I show bits of the planning and show those? Is there some way I can show those things during the execution? Is there some way I can do this without showing the planning? And if there's no bit of the planning I need to show, then I don't need to show any of the, then I just eliminate all of it. What I would often do is show like a lead up, like some question, like, there's one chapter that ends with, how would you like to play captain or something like that? Or and you don't see any of the rest of the plan.
But that's enough to know that, oh crap, she's going to be, or whoever is going to be playing this character.
Right.
And they're going to be playing this role and that's going to be vital. And it says so much in that one line. So that's glorious. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, it's basically, is this necessary? Is like to accomplish the things that I want this whole section to accomplish, do I need to show the planning?
Sure.
Yeah.
And if there's parts of it you need to show, you do something like a montage. If there's none of it you need to show, eliminate it.
Right.
And it's a hard thing to do if you've already written it, especially
my time.
Yeah. And especially like if it does have like great character moments that are fun, but again, might not necessarily be necessary for the plot or for anything. It's just for your own like entertainment.
Right. Well, and also I will say there is a way to show some of the planning during the execution.
Yes.
Without spoiling anything.
Yeah.
But for you in my first book, there's an escape attempt involving potatoes.
Right.
And during that attempt, I talk about like every day you've done this thing. Like, well, that's me showing the planning, but I'm doing it during the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can do that during the reveal and it just makes it cooler. Instead of coming across as, exposition, it eliminates confusion and it makes it seem cooler.
Yeah.
And it doesn't ruin any surprises.
Right.
No.
And even can bring in like a comedic element too, because you say eliminate surprises, but like almost like not startled, like pleasantly entertained, I guess is all I can think of.
You said that. And as soon as you said like, it creates this sort of comedic effect, I was thinking of the opposite situation where giving the exposition creates a comedic effect, which is in True Lies.
Oh,
when he's being like he's on the truth serum. And he's like, first I thought I'm going to do this. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill that guy, the guards, whatever.
Yeah.
And then like he does all of it.
I do remember that.
Very true.
That is great. That's a great movie.
No, go ahead. No, you go. No, you go first.
To the sticking on the kind of like planning event, like when to use it, not. You can also use that too when they're planning an event and then you find out that there's a mole inside the whole thing, or
like a Judas plot.
Yeah, like a Judas plot. Yeah. So and also to your point where you said like you learn when you write and when you get better what to cut out and what you don't need, and not so much exposition, but like when you have exposition and you get too like flowery with it, you're like, this is just, you don't need all this extra stuff. You can do more with less. Like that's another like tactic in this show don't tell. Like less is more sometimes.
Yeah, clarity over purple prose. That's overly flowery prose is what that means.
Which unfortunately, purple's my favorite color.
Purple rain.
Yeah.
Purple rain.
Just wear purple while you write, and you'll
be perfect. Yeah.
I think one of the main uses for exposition really is whether it's character, plot, or world building is showing past and context.
Sure.
So like characters, plot, and world all have histories.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to show that. It can be through a remark or a little blurb. You want to make it relevant. Like at one point, there's like this trade scene in my first book, and Ajuban is sort of thinking to himself about like the whole flintlocks versus matchlocks thing and why pirates are using the flintlocks and why no one else is. And it's like, it's a paragraph, but these are things he's thinking because of the scene that's going on and it's exposition. And you might have it be dialogue if you did a screenplay for it, but like you have a limit on how much you can get away with there. But if you come short of that limit, it's actually really works.
Mm-hmm.
Once you go past that limit, people are like, okay,
like
move this along.
Does this go for?
Yeah, it's you're interrupting the dialogue. You're interrupting the action.
Yeah.
We were watching Avatar, the TV show the other day,
sure. Yeah.
and they had that little fight with each other, and like this scene should have ended like 2 minutes ago.
Oh, sure.
Like because they kept on like finding reasons why they were mad at each other, and they kept on going back and forth. I'm like, no, this is like not
Peter
good.
Griffin and the chicken.
Oh my God.
Gave me expired coupon.
but like you know, plots have a past. You know, world building has a past. There's like, oh, the Captain Ming's who burned the town last year. That's relevant right now. Or, you know, like when this war happened, blah, 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 or, you know, all that stuff. It has a past. The past is often relevant in the current moment, but you wait for the current moment before you have characters, you know, think about it or discuss it.
Mm.
Yeah. So again, a lot more. There's so much more we can talk about in this one, but for now,
that's ironic.
Yeah, we can tell. So we can tell you so much more.
Yeah.
Now we'll show you by going away. No, so
we'll show you, but you read our books.
Read our books. Yeah, they're masterpieces apparently. But yeah,
he has won an award. Sorry.
Yeah, you have 2 actually.
Masterpiece. I'll go with award winning.
Yeah, award winning.
Yeah.
Not master yet.
But anyways, we've been Bards and Balladeers. This has been Tell versus Show or Show Don't Tell. And hit us up on Discord if you want to talk more about that or make comments on below. But otherwise, I've been Rio.
I'm Oscar.
And I'm Kate.
You did it right. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.